Are you ready to get juiced, bro? So testosterone replacement therapy is a good idea if you want to end up with shriveled raisins for testicles. Without the ability to produce sperm, without the ability to produce your own testosterone, then it's a fantastic idea. In this video, I'm going to be diving into the topic of testosterone replacement, my thoughts on it, and why I don't think that overall it's a good idea, what you should do instead of this. I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit subscribe to support the channel. Make sure you get my free ejaculation control course in the link through the video description below. So this is something that a lot of men have been asking me about. It is an important topic because there was a time in my life where I was interested in this myself. You may have heard me tell a story where a few years ago I was experiencing some libido issues and I had low testosterone. And I did just a little bit of basic research in a TRT and very quickly decided it was not something I wanted to do. And I went about a natural way of improving my testosterone, which worked fantastically. And I'll be talking more about that. But basically, I want to share just a bit of my own. I've done a bit more research on TRT and there's a few focal points that I want to stay on as far as my ideas of like why I'm not a proponent of TRT and why for me it would be like an absolute last resort. And my recommendation is for you as well to have that same mindset. Now, of course, I'm no doctor, I'm no endocrinologist, this is my own information based on my anecdotal experience, my own research, my own viewpoint of things from a more holistic view of health and sexuality, hormonal balance. So take it as you will. I totally see why TRT would be like a very attractive thing because you have low testosterone. The obvious thing to do is just pump yourself up with some external testosterone and immediately, boom, you have high testosterone again. This is the quick fix mentality we have in the modern world, especially in Western medicine where it's like, we'll just put a Band-Aid on the thing. But what this isn't really getting into is like, well, why do you have low testosterone in the first place? Like maybe there's something deeper happening that is gonna get worse if you don't get to the root cause of it. And of course, there is a lot of negative side effects from TRT. I mean, there's a whole list of side effects. Look up the side effects of TRT and come up with a comprehensive list. But I wanna focus on one specific thing in particular that for me is a big turnoff and is the reason why I would probably never do TRT personally. And that is that 95% of men who do TRT end up with at least some degree of testicle shrinkage. The testicles shrink. Some men experience severe testicle shrinkage because basically what happens is that you're putting these external hormones in the body and the body's saying, oh, our testosterone is very high. We don't need to be putting more into the bloodstream right now because it's at an okay level, because the body's always balancing itself. It's always, regulating itself. And because you have this steady supply of testosterone in your bloodstream, the body says, oh, well, we don't need to make any more, so shut down production. And your balls atrophy. They shrivel up like little raisins. In theory, they do. I actually haven't seen with my own eyes what the testicles look like in this situation, but I can imagine. And so basically, when you're taking TRT, the body actually loses its ability to produce its own testosterone. And this can come back after some time, like if you quit taking TRT, like at best months for the body to recover, at worst years, or it never completely recovers. And I have some statistics here, okay? About 80% of men recover their natural testosterone production abilities within about 6 to 12 months after stopping TRT. I mean, that's a long time. That's 6 months to a year not being able to produce testosterone, basically. So I can only imagine that that's you're at a strong hormonal low for that long. Like, it can't be pleasant. 10 to 15% of men take up to 2 years to fully recover. So 2 years at an extreme hormonal low, that sucks. And it's possible that as much as 5% of men who do TRT will never be able to fully recover their ability to produce testosterone. And this is also linked to sperm production as well. It's pretty well known that TRT lowers your sperm count. It lowers your ability to produce sperm because again, the testicles are shutting down. So you are possibly castrating yourself by taking TRT. And that's the reason that it's a huge turnoff to me that I will not do this personally. And there's another compound that men often take in conjunction with TRT called HCG. I forget what that stands for. Apparently it helps mitigate some of the side effects of TRT, but it has its own side effects as well. And this is the whole thing, is that you're putting these synthetic compounds in your body. And I was looking up, where does this testosterone come from? They used to use animal-derived testosterones, but now it's pretty synthetic stuff that you're putting in your body. And it's often derived from plants like soy or yam, which have natural sterols in them. It's interesting. But my whole thing is again, you're putting these synthetic laboratory-created things in your bloodstream. It's not natural. It's throwing things out of balance, like mood swings, irritability, emotional issues are very common for people who are taking synthetic hormones. Obviously, steroids, that's a whole other story. If you're hitting the trend hard, you know, we won't get into that. So let's talk about hypogonadism. Hypogonadism is basically where the testicles are atrophying. They're not producing the hormones that in a healthy human body produce regularly, like testosterone. And it's often just like, oh yeah, you've got hypogonadism. It's just like it's just a disease, and you got it, you happen to have it, and you're stuck with it, and there you go. So you need TRT. This is a big problem with like kind of Western medical thought, is like diagnosing. It's like, oh, it's just a condition you have and you're stuck with it. But when you understand, like ancient wisdom understands that the body's a system, and that when one of the systems is off, it's a sign that some other part of the body may be off, that something else is happening. And when it comes to hormone levels, it's very often simply a sign that there's something in your body, in your mind, that needs to be corrected. And again, there's a reason why your testosterone is low. And you can use that warning sign as your body to go in and look at the body systems and say, okay, like what's out of balance here? What are my nutritional deficiencies? What organs may be like having some issues? How's my nervous system unbalanced? You know, these are always the first things to look into. But if you just skip all that and like, oh, TRT, there we go, then you can potentially be setting yourself up for future health issues by not looking at the root of the cause. And just to summarize what I've talked about here is that you can permanently screw up your endocrine system and become dependent on this external synthetic testosterone hormone that you may not always have access to. Like, who knows? So now let's get to what do you do instead? If not testosterone therapy, then like, how am I going to get my testosterone back, Jonathan? So again, I've researched this very intensively over the past several years, you know, since I had some libido issues in the past. I've talked about this more in other videos, but I'm just going to share some highlights. The number one thing is stress. Number one thing. Stress is the number one boner killer. Mental, physical, emotional stress, whatever it is. And one of the big ones in our modern world is too much electronic stimulation, screens, information, too much this, you know, scrolling through social media. It's a huge stressor to your system. So reducing stress and reducing screen time is one of the best things you can do for your health in general, your hormonal balance. Here's a very simple tip: ice your balls. This is a big one. I started icing my balls several times a day, like years ago, and I noticed significant increase to my libido and my nighttime and morning erections. And basically the testicles get too hot when you're wearing thick clothes, or they're stuck up towards your body from wearing tight underwear. Letting the testicles hang freely helps to free up sperm and testosterone production, but icing them is a great way to cool them down. That's a very simple thing you can do right away to get some testosterone benefit. Detoxification is, again, one of the number one things, because this is one of the most common things as well. People's bodies are full of toxins. They're full of endocrine disruptors from household products, the soaps, the shampoos, the toothpaste you're using, artificial fragrances, body sprays, deodorants. All of these things have endocrine disruptors in them. It goes in the skin, it goes in your body. So you need to detoxify these things from your body and stop putting them on your body. Also heavy metals, fungus and molds, phytoestrogens, xenoestrogens, plastics. It's unavoidable to be exposed to toxicity in the modern world. So you must detoxify. Check out my sexual vitality detox video for a nice regimen to start detoxifying. Too much toxicity in the body puts a lot of strain on the liver. It produces more sex hormone binding globulin, which binds to your testosterone, and you have low free testosterone, low libido. Cleanse that liver, son. Maximize your sleep. This is one of the best things you can do for your health, is to sleep well at night. And again, this really relates to your nervous system, stress, and all these things. So do a bit of research on how to improve your sleep as much as you can. And in fact, let me know if you'd like me to make a video on how to really maximize your sleep and what I do personally for this. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that video. Correcting nutritional deficiencies. The modern diet is full of deficiencies. People are not getting essential minerals in their diet. If you're not getting enough zinc, magnesium, boron, iodine, selenium, these are essential for hormone production. Also cholesterol and saturated fats. In spite of what, the mainstream seed oil funded medical information says, saturated fats are essential. And it's an interesting coincidence how the general population of the world, at least the West, switched from saturated fats primarily to this new type of fat that humans had never eaten before, coming from these ultra processed seed oils. And all of a sudden, testosterone levels dropped. Chronic health issues rised sharply. I mean, it's not difficult to see what's going on there. So correct your nutritional deficiencies, stop eating garbage, and get some proper nutrition. Vitamin D, vitamin A, boom. Last thing I'm gonna share here, and this is probably obvious, but exercise. Move your body. Not too much though. Overtraining can wreck your libido and hurt your testosterone just as much as sedentary lifestyle. So the key is balance here. But for me, hitting the gym 3 times a week, working my muscle groups, has been really great for my testosterone and libido levels. So there you go. That's why I think TRT is not a great idea and what you can do instead. And here's the thing, I don't care what you do. Do your own research. talk to your endocrinologist, whatever. Like, I could be wrong. I haven't experimented personally with TRT, so of course my viewpoint will be somewhat limited, but I do have a very good understanding of the human system and experience with natural testosterone enhancement. So for me personally, TRT would be an absolute last resort. But if I'm 80 years old and I cannot get it up anymore, I'd try TRT at that point. It's like, what do I have to lose anyways when I'm 80 years old? You know what I mean? So it's just like, you choose your priorities, of course, but I just want you to be well informed, all right? Hope you enjoyed the video. Give this video a like, hit subscribe to support the channel, and have a great day, my friend, to your ultimate testosterone maximization.